In this video, we're going to turn a simple hand-drawn sketch into an image using Illustrator. The image on the screen is one I drew with pencil, and then I took a picture of it with my phone. I then put the image onto my computer and opened it in Illustrator. I actually resized this a little bit in Photoshop first, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can see that I saved the image in a folder on my computer. The image is called eaglesketch.jpg. I've opened the JPEG in Illustrator, and now I'm going to draw over it using the pen tool. To create this eagle using Illustrator, I'm going to use the pen tool to trace around the different shapes that make up the eagle head. To do that, the first thing I want to do is go into Illustrator. I'm going to click on the pen tool in the left-hand side of the screen. Now I'm going to make sure that my fill color for the pen tool is set to none, which is the white square with the red line. Now I'm going to choose a stroke color. I'm going to choose a dark blue. Just so I can clearly see the line I've drawn, I'm going to change the stroke color to about 3 point in size. Now I'm going to start by clicking on the far left of the eagle head, and I'm going to click and create an anchor point. Now I'm going to go to the end of the first section of the eagle's hair, the feathers, and create another anchor point. And now I'm going to move the slider outwards, and I'm going to create a curve that traces over the outline of the eagle. Now, if you find this very difficult to do with such a small image, Command and plus will allow you to zoom in. Now you can see that the curve has continued, but it's already following my first curve, and I don't want that. So I'm going to press Command, hold the Command key, and click on the canvas to deselect that line. You can see the line I've drawn now. Now on the anchor point, at the end of my first line, I'm going to start by clicking to add a new line, and then the end of the second part of the eagle. Click, hold, move the slider around until you've got a curve that you're happy with, and it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Then let go. Now you can see again, the curve isn't working the way I'd like it to if I just simply continue. So again, hold the Command key, click on the image, deselect, and then select the anchor point and continue along the path. Again, Command, hold the Command key, click on the image, deselect, then pick the last anchor point and click on the next section and create your curve. Keep doing this until you've moved around all of the first part of the eagle head. Obviously, we're going to have to make this in a couple of sections. Now I've created the first section of my eagle. With the outline selected, I can simply click on the fill color and choose a fill color for the eagle. I'm just going to use black for now. We can change the stroke color to black as well, or none, or any other color that we want. I'm going to make the stroke color black also. With that section complete, now I can move on with the pen tool and create the rest of the eagle. So we'll select the pen tool again, but first I'm just going to adjust this to place the eagle back in the center of my screen. Now click the pen tool and make sure that the fill color is set to none and the stroke color is set to black or something else that's dark. Now with the pen tool, find a starting point for the new shape. I'm going to use the far left point of the inner part of the eagle's head and click to add an anchor point. Just like before, draw lines by finding the corners of each part of the sketch and creating a curve to match them. Remember to hold the Command key and click onto the canvas or the grey background to deselect the line that you've just created. Now you can see here that my stroke is set to 1 point and I can barely see it. That's not very good. So I'm going to click on the selection tool, click on the line that I've just drawn, and the properties have changed here. I'm going to change the stroke size to 3 points so I can see that, and then click on the pen tool again and just continue as I left off. So click an anchor point. It's remembered the 3 point that I was just using. Click and hold to draw a new line. Again, if you want to zoom in, it's Command and plus. So if I hold the Command key and plus, it zooms in and makes it easier to follow the sketch. So now I'm going to hold Command and press on the grey background to just deselect. Click on the pen tool and then just continue on my way. Obviously, some curves need to be done in sections. I can't always make one long line in the shape that I want. So sometimes I have to stop, add an anchor point, and then continue along the same line. Okay, now I have finished the second section of the eagle. I'm going to click on the fill color and again change this fill color to black for now, and the stroke color should already be set to black. Now if you look in the right hand side panel, below the stroke you've got the opacity or opacity, however you pronounce it. And right now it's at 100%, which means that I cannot see through it because this controls the transparency. If I click this and move the slider down, you can see that I can see through my shape slightly. Okay, so I can change that as needed. So I want to be able to see through it so I can see the eye of the eagle. Now I'm just going to set the transparency to about 50% for that for the time being. And now I can click Command and anywhere else on the screen to deselect that shape, and now select the pen tool again, and this time I'm going to turn the fill tool, the fill color off, or actually change it to white, and the stroke color I'm also going to change to white. And what I'm going to do now is draw over the eye. So I'm drawing a shape on top of the previous shape. So I'm going to click and drag and follow the eye to make the eye, and it will fill this in as I go. So click, create new anchor point, and draw this eye, and then click and complete the shape. So I've got an eye shape there. Okay, now if I click Command and anywhere on the screen just to deselect that, if I go to the Layers tab, which is in the top right hand of the screen, you can see I've got one layer in this project, but there is a small white arrow, if I click this, it expands the layers panel. And you can see I've got my original sketch as the bottom layer. The first path I drew, which was the outer head of the eagle with the beak. My second path was the inner eye. And then my third path, which looks empty here, but that's only because it's white, is the eyeball that I've just created. So if I click on the second path, which is the inner section of the face, and then just click on the little dot next to it to make sure that's selected, you can see now a red outline has appeared around that section. This means that that section has been selected. I can go to properties and I can change that opacity back to 100%. Now I'm going to finish this off by adding the nostril of the eagle. So again, we're going to, we can leave this fill color as black, which is already selected, and the stroke color is already black. Click on the pen tool and then click to, just like we have previously, finish off the eagle by drawing the nostril. Remember, if your curve isn't moving the way you want and it can't continue, hold the command key, click to deselect, and then click on the anchor point again, and it will allow you to make a new straight line. Remember that you have to complete the shape by connecting your anchor point, your last anchor point, with your first anchor point. Okay, now I can click anywhere on the screen, holding command to deselect, and I'm going to zoom out with command and minus, and that is my eagle logo completed. Now I want to click on the selection tool in the top left hand of the screen, and I can click and move the sketch out of the way. I can actually also just press the delete key to delete it completely, and now I've been left with just my eagle logo. I can go into the layers panel and select different sections. So let's say I want to make the outer section, I'll leave as black, but the inner section, which is the third path, let's just make sure I've got to go through them and find it. There it is, next path down. Okay, so that's selected. I can go to properties and maybe I can change the stroke color to red and the fill color to red as well. There we go. Okay, and find the right shade of red that I want. There we go. And you can make something that you think looks good. If you don't want the stroke, you can always turn that off. There we go. And there, I've made a nice eagle logo. So once you've finished that, you need to save it as an SVG file for use in your work. So click File, Save As, and save your project. I'll call this Eagle Sketch AI. That saves it as an Illustrator project file, so we can go back in and edit this later. When you get the Illustrator options message, just click OK. And then to save as an image you can use in your work, click File, Export, Export As, and then you can save it as a PNG or a JPEG, which obviously means that you won't be able to resize it without losing quality, or an SVG file. This is especially for Illustrator. It's a vector image type. Click that, and then you've got eaglesketch.svg. Click Export. Ignore all of these, just click OK. And now you will have that saved on your computer. You can use it in your work and you can resize it to any size you like without losing quality.